If you don't do this, it can literally drive you insane. But if you do, well, it'll not only improve the quality of your life, but the lives of everyone around you. I've been holding space in psychedelic work for 27 years. 13 of those years have been in the public eye. I have worked with well over 1,500 people and have administered over 4,000 doses of psilocybin. And as a professional space holder, this lesson that I want to share with you today may not only save your life, quite literally, but it can also improve the quality of life for yourself and those around you. It's a simple practice, but like most of them, it's not easy. What I'm talking about is regulating your nervous system. How could this have such drastic consequences? I have actually seen individuals admitted to the psych ward because they were not able to regulate their nervous system in the context of what was happening around them. And this wasn't just in psychedelic work. Yes, I've seen it there. But more importantly, I've seen it in everyday life. There is, fortunately, a great interest in these powerful plant medicines for the improvement of the quality of our lives, but there is painfully little real information about how this process works. And I have studied it in depth. It is my life's work, and I'm so grateful to share it with you because what we learn in ceremony not only impacts how we show up in ceremony, but how we show up in life generally. The lessons that we receive, if they're not translated into our daily lives, then they're really of no value. And this holds true even for those who are holding space. It is extremely common to hear a space holder say that they get just as much out of the ceremony as the people that they're holding space for. And I can absolutely attest to that. Now, how does this relate to nervous system regulation? Well, as a space holder, that is the single most important task that we have. I mentioned in the last video briefly that we're all connected, but I hope that this one helps you see that a little more practically and how you can take initiative to improve the quality of the lives of the people around you. Remember what we said in the last video, that true selfishness is service to others? Well, it shows up profoundly in this work. And this work, again, very easily makes its way into daily life. So, nervous system regulation. Now, I'm not going to get into a real deep theoretical conversation about this right now. We might touch more on that on the next video, but for now, I want to keep it really grounded and practical. So, perhaps you know that we have mirror neurons, that we are neurologically wired to reflect what we see in our environment. And this is why there are inherent leaders in the world. Real leaders are not necessarily just people who can make an important decision or people who have a vision for the future. Those are definitely important and valuable traits in leadership, but real leadership really amounts to who you are right now in the moment. Even watching this video, your nervous system is being impacted by mine. In this case, it's a one-way relationship because I can't see you. I am not reflecting your state. But were we present together physically, that would be the case. Or if we were on a Zoom call together, there still is transference. It's pretty amazing, and there are some very powerful and profound mystical lessons to this. But again, we're going to keep it grounded for this conversation. If you are interested in the deeper components of this work, well, I would invite you to check out either my personal page if you wanted to work privately with me, or check out Sanctuary. It's the sacred mushroom community my wife and I founded after coming out of the retreat industry, which, if you're not aware, we started the world's very first psilocybin mushroom retreat in Treasure Beach, Jamaica in 2013. So, space holding lesson. Yes, yes, yes. We set the tone with our presence. Our breath is the first way that we do this. Are you holding your breath right now? Most people aren't aware that they're pretty regularly holding their breath. Take a minute. Check in with yourself. allow yourself a nice, smooth inhalation and even a even a sigh. That practice, it's not just some silly yoga technique. It actually is one of the fastest ways to soothe the vagus nerve, which is the single most important nerve that runs almost the entire length of your body. It certainly runs from the base of your skull to your abdomen. From there on, it branches into your legs and arms. Anyway, we're not getting into a physiology lesson here, but just know and experience right now with me as we breathe in through our nose and exhale with a sigh from our mouth. One more, right? The calming sensation that arises. Were you to do that for 3 or 4 minutes, well, you'd find it calmed you even deeper. Another breathing practice that can help soothe the nervous system is box breathing. Maybe you're aware of this. Either way, it's a great time to practice right now. Let's do this. We're going to breathe in together twice, holding for the count of 4, and then exhaling for the count of 4, and then holding that exhale for the count of 4. All right, let's do this together. In, out, hold. In, out, hold. It was a little challenging to count while considering what I'm going to say next. Anyway, another one that we won't talk about, a bonus that we will talk about in the next episode, is vulnerability also helps to regulate your nervous system. Anyway, there's a little bit of vulnerability there for you. The next breathing practice I want to share with you is personally my favorite. This is a Taoist practice I have come to understand as sip breathing. And what we do is we breathe in fully, and we allow it to just hold that breath, and then as the oxygen transitions into our blood, we breathe in just a little bit more. And then we hold and we breathe in a little bit more. And if you do this with the diaphragm, and I didn't mention the diaphragmatic breathing previously, but it's also really important and really valuable to calming the nervous system and regulating. When you use your diaphragm, dropping it open on the inhale, expanding your belly open when you inhale, it brings more oxygen in. It helps to soothe your system even more. All right. And then we do the same thing when we exhale. You exhale, hold it, allow that CO2 to then transfer from your blood to your lungs. Breathe out just a little bit more, and do it again, and just a little bit more, and then repeat the process. Now, this is an exercise that I personally love to do for 10 to 20 minutes sometimes. It the way that you feel it oxygenate your blood and cleanse your blood is truly profound, and it can actually produce an altered state. Most of us aren't aware that our lungs are one of the most important detoxification organs in our body. So exhaling fully, something that we don't often do, is really important. All right, so let's do this real quick, shall we? All right, we're going to breathe in. A little bit more. And out. In. All right. Oh, I love that. Uh, it's an exercise that I do lead on my Qigong playlist on this channel. If you're interested in checking that out, um, it can produce some pretty profound states and experiences with your body. We are not aware generally of how much oxygen we can hold and how much we hang on to. Also, I didn't mention there that it's powerful and effective to often, or at least at times, breathe in and out only through our nose. This is another way to regulate our nervous system because it helps to increase nitrous oxide levels in the blood. That opens up capillaries, it brings more blood through the body, it further enriches your tissue and builds muscle and just brings that life giving, soothing oxygen into your body. And men, well, it's particularly good for you. All right, next on the list here, we have mindfulness, especially in the form of body scanning. So, mindfulness is a word that we hear quite a bit these days. Meditation has thankfully become more widespread, accessible, easily spoken of. There was a time, I'm old enough to remember, when talking about meditation, well, was almost as weird as talking about psychedelics. Not anymore, and thankfully, we're seeing psychedelic awareness grow as well and become normalized. Now, mindfulness as it relates to the body means bringing our awareness into our physical being. Mind is not located in the brain. You can think of your toe and be there. You can think of your hands and feel them. Mind is very different than the brain. So, mindfulness, I understand, or I express it, experience it as letting the fullness of my mind expand. That begins with the body, ideally, and then moves out into the environment. Far too often, our mind is dwelling outside of our bodies. And that's one of the reasons that we get unregulated. So, we won't do this practice together, but I'm going to invite you just to take some time and become aware of your body. Do a body scan. Start from the top of your head and bring your awareness down through your face, through your neck, through your shoulders and arms, and your waist, abdomen, down through your hips and thighs and calves and feet and toes. And even while I said we weren't going to do it together, I bet just speaking it like that actually brought your mind to your body just a little bit more. Take some time and do that, though. I want to challenge you to take 10 or 15 minutes and just sit and be aware of your body. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the twitches and itches and let them be. There's real power, in just allowing those sensations to move through. Also talk about that on the Qigong videos in that playlist. Finally, probably my favorite way to regulate, and one that, well, we're far too out of touch with as a species, especially us here in the United States, is being in nature, especially, you've heard me talk about it before, being barefoot in nature. I know this guy's from Kentucky and he's telling me to get barefoot. Well, there's good reason, science-backed reason. Grounding, as it is often called, absolutely helps to regulate the nervous system. And I see this organically happen in the mushroom space where people just cannot wear shoes. They feel the charge from the earth in their bodies. They need the connection. They know that it is a powerful connection. They know that we are connected to the earth in some amazing ways that science is, yes, beginning to understand. Being in nature, it's actually how I get closest to God, or my understanding of God, my understanding of the all that is. When we observe nature and we see the interconnectedness in the trees, the plants, the flowers, the mushrooms, all life. It reminds us of our place in this beautiful mystery. Did you know that the emotion most closely, that the emotion that creates the most anti-inflammatory response in the body is that of awe? Now, aside from maybe an internal psychedelic experience, not much inside our homes or businesses can provide a sense of awe. Being out in nature, just looking at a night sky, witnessing a stand of beautiful trees blowing in the wind, standing at the edge of a lake or a seashore, seeing a mountain in the distance, or even looking out from the top of one, we can experience awe. And then we can bring that into our bodies, into our beings. As we practice mindfulness with our bodies in this body scan or in this breath work, we can bring that sense of awe into ourselves. What an amazing vessel we have here. It's not just a meat sack, my friends. That word, oh, it breaks my heart when I hear folks say that, because we are an incredible, mysterious, self-healing creation. It's profound and it's beautiful. You are nature. So most of us require getting out into nature to remember that we are nature. And when you do so, you'll find that it helps to soothe your nervous system. It helps to relax your sense of being. And that rubs off on everyone around you. Mirror neurons, transference, all these ways that we can talk about just the underlying reality that we are one. It's an important and powerful recognition. And as we do that, we become aware of our responsibility to ourselves and each other to regulate our nervous systems, particularly if you have children or if you're an employer, manager, an overseer of any group of people. But even just going to the grocery store, you can exude a calm and a presence that rubs off on the people around you. And who knows, maybe you'll help prevent someone from getting admitted to a psych ward today. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all those good things. It is so deeply appreciated. If you stayed all the way to the end here, then, well, you're my favorite. See you next time.